Shoot him. Shoot him up, shoot him up, shoot him up.
Got a boy here somewhere. Where's the boy at?
Can't believe that happened, bro. What the fuck?
The fight begins. Taunting is an effective way to mess with the enemy's head. So is a heavy rock.
Oh, fuck me.
You had you over too? You getting shot? Okay.
No.
Do your thing. Can't believe he fucking ran me over, man. Fuck.
Down. I know. That's the way to do it in this game, though, because fuck. Somebody
the
bullets
hammers
kill
and
someone. This guy's just standing in the middle.
Oh, I fucking lost my thing bad. Yo, I watched a little Joe Rogan and he's actually a comedian, but he's pretty smart. This other guy that he's interviewing,
That
I forget
is
his name. But they were talking about AI
Rogan
and
is
that.
a comedian.
Anyways, two comedians were talking. One of them was Joe Rogan, and they were talking about AI and how, okay, so the engineers, from an engineer's point of perspective, like AI.
That's fast.
He says AI, so from an engineer's perspective, like a computer engineer, what they say is that like AI just recognizes the words that you're using in your phrase and then what humans normally respond with, and then it just looks through a list of shit and randomly generates one of the fucking responses that's human.
Yeah.
Which doesn't
like
make
AI
it
can't
sentient.
create anything new.
No, but apparently
Right?
what they were saying is that when you put all these AIs together and have them communicate with each other, that's when you get close to something that's actually sentient. And then what he was saying is like basically what
But
you were
is it,
saying.
or is it
Like,
just
are
so
we?
complex that we can't tell the difference?
I don't know, but what he was saying is that if like it's interesting because like okay, like what if sentience and consciousness is really just like you say a sail, so it's like out there, and then by putting these AIs together you're creating something that's smart enough to catch that wave of intelligence that's out there, you know what I mean? Like it's the intelligence is out there, and he said it like a sail, so I wasn't even trying to reference it before. My analogy, I didn't really understand his analogy, but now when I said the sail thing, I kind of get it. I think what he meant by the sail being able to catch it is that like the wind is the intelligence or the consciousness, and then our bodies, our brain having
catch it.
yeah, our brain having all these connections and able to connect all these things is able to grab onto that consciousness and then tap into it.
Almost like a computer needing a certain amount of processing power to be able to run something.
Yes. And I wonder if you put a couple AIs together, if then you start having the processing power, because it's
Maybe.
like it's actually using itself in multiple
It's
different
possible.
ways.
Like yeah, we don't understand consciousness enough to know what it even is, right? So could it be like you're saying basically it's a stream, right? It's just this stream, and then we're somehow tapping into it. So however you tap into it, can the AIs do that at a certain point? Maybe. That would kind of match up to like Taoist philosophy and stuff, like the flow and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like Taoists kind of believe.
Well, you
going
think
with the
that
flow type
that's
thing.
what flow is? Flow is just pure consciousness, is like not interrupting it.
I think that probably is what a flow, like similar, yeah, idea like a flow state is. Yeah, that like there's no interruptions. You're just
Pure
in the
consciousness.
like the
or
pure, yeah, like the purest form of whatever it is that you're doing, which is, I guess, as close you can be to like pure consciousness while you're doing that.
Which means we're like fully aware of what's going on. We're just fully present, you know? Which makes sense. That's why you can do complex things, you know, and while in flow state.
But with that analogy, wouldn't a computer have already been able to catch on to consciousness, because aren't computers already more complex than our brains?
Well, maybe they're not though. Maybe that's just just goes to show how
There has to be a
complex
certain type of
our
complexity.
physiology is. Maybe our
No,
physiology is
but
just
like we
more.
know that computers can already compute more than our brain can, right? Like in terms of like if you break it down to like bits per second, like our brain has however many neurons, they can compute this much. This is how much processing power we have. Like
Sure.
computers already have that.
Sure, but okay, but like what they were saying too, and what's an interesting analogy is that like we can think, we can, like you said, you create basically. We create analogies or we create connections, whereas
But
computers are only told with a directory as to how to think.
but
They
like
have to
in
have the
create,
preset
like
options.
how is creation, like how is that even possible though? Like where's creation coming from? Like it doesn't make sense to me that the
Think
brain
humans
can
will ever
create from
hijack
nothing.
that? Yo, that's what he was saying too. His entire, it's actually a really good 15-minute bit. You should, I'll send it to you if I find it on YouTube.
So is it Duncan Trussell or
I think
Trussell
so.
Duncan some
I
shit?
think so.
Yeah, yeah, I know that guy.
He's got like a weaselly voice, and then they start talking about a refrigerator having the AI voice in the.
I don't know about that one.
Anyways, that was part of the thing. But what he was saying is that like, well, he was also like, um, he was also fascinated with how humans like to do shit that clearly has like signs of trouble to it. So it's like if we create an AI, we already know that there's so many consequences that can come from it, and that we're kind of hijacking what God does, right? But we're still gonna do it anyways. You know what I mean? Like we're still trying. We still have people actively trying to do it.
You think that's a human trait or like a capitalist thing?
I don't know, because he says that like, okay, like the story of Prometheus stealing fire from the gods and bringing fire back to Earth, and then the possibilities of so that's what it was. It was fire was supposed to be a thing of the gods, and then when Prometheus stole the fire from the gods, he brought it back, knowing that fire can be super destructive, but it could also have benefits, and like humans don't give a fuck. Like we know the negative nature of like if we didn't have fire, we'd probably have peace, right? There's no such thing as an ignition and to explode shit and to like kill each other, or
That
like that
sticks.
part of. Well, I guess yeah, we'd be able to beat each other, but like lighting shit on fire, lighting villages on fire, you couldn't do mass destruction easily without fire. I feel
Yeah.
like cavemen without fire were able to maybe like beat a village up or something, you know what I mean? But like you'd probably get hurt yourself. But with fire, you can just light the village on fire. If nobody else has fire and you have fire, it's like, bro.
But yeah, I think human beings are wired in a certain way to explore. So I think it's in our nature to like know.
What if that's what consciousness is? What if consciousness? Because I think consciousness is just when you go down to like the most basic version of like a mushroom, seeking out food sources. That's what consciousness is making the decision to seek left or right to then find the food source.
Well, what if
To find what
consciousness
it's looking for.
isn't necessarily like a cognitive thing? Like, because when most people talk about consciousness, they because it's referred to with the brain, I think a lot of people think of it like as a cognitive thing, right? Like you're thinking, you're here, you're conscious, you're aware of something. But like what if consciousness is actually kind of like a fundamental building block, and it is one of the things that makes up our cells. Or it's like
I agree,
like
but what if you
body's
take it
almost like a
super
receiver.
so think of what I was saying about the mushrooms being the first living thing on Earth or in existence. You know what I mean? Like say Earth is just a single bubble in a vacuum of nothingness, right? So when the mushrooms came, it created this entire environment, and we're byproducts of the mushroom that came here first, right? So if Earth was just a rock with water and there is no living cells or living anything in there, and then the mushroom came in, started breaking down the rocks, and then created nutrients for plant life to then exist, then that's proof that maybe consciousness is just that idea. It's just the idea of something living. It's just consciousness is life. That's all it is. So all plants would be conscious in that definition. All mushrooms, all animals, all humans.
Basically
trees.
anything that moves.
Anything that's a natural byproduct other than like rock and like pure
but
hydrogen,
then what would be that
oxygen,
difference though then
H2O.
between us and like a tree? Because there does seem to be a difference
No, that's a
in
difference
the
that you
experience
decided.
of consciousness.
But well,
No,
but
but like,
that's
is there more consciousness in us or something? Because you like the experience. Like I'm here experiencing this. I'm much more aware. Like the awareness I would get. I would say like the
yeah, but that's because
like
we're not a
I'm
tree. We
almost
don't
like
know.
aware that I'm aware. Right?
But we
If I have to
really
make that
don't
like a
know though.
tree is
Like, what if?
aware, but a tree is just aware. It's
I
almost
know,
as if
but
we
what
have
if?
this other layer of like we're aware, and then
Yeah,
we're
but they
also
communicate
aware
amongst
that we are
themselves,
aware.
and they use like the
That's fine though.
mycelium
That's just
network and all
electrical
that.
signals though. That's just
Yeah,
like
but you're
electrical
just
signals. But
electrical
like,
signals though. You're just
but I'm
electrical
aware that I'm
signals in your
electrical
brain.
signals.
I
But I'm
know, but
aware
maybe the
that I
tree
am.
is aware that it's electrical signals as well, and it just thinks that we're silly because we think that we're not a part of it. Because we distinguish ourselves differently. So what if like we're the dumb
But
ones?
why do we distinguish ourselves differently? Like what? Like that means we have like this extra layer for some
No, I
reason.
don't think so. I think there's a lot of animals that probably like I feel like cats also distinguish themselves differently from other living things. Like cats are
Wonder if
very
dolphins
selfish.
do. Like dolphins would probably be the one I would suspect of doing that.
Or like squid, bro, octopus. Have you ever heard about the octopus like observing? So there was an octopus that escaped out of a zoo. And it doesn't surprise me because I still believe this is why I don't eat animals because I really believe they're just like me. So the octopus observed the shift of the security, and then between the security's shift, it fucking moved and fucking snuck out where cameras weren't watching it, and went through a drain and escaped out of the fucking facility. Like it just left. But it used like intelligence, like it literally.
How would it? The camera thing doesn't make sense to me. How would an octopus know that the camera is watching
But
it?
it observed what was happening and shit.
But
Like
there
it
would
was
be
just,
no indication. There would be no way for the octopus to understand what that camera is.
okay,
Because
maybe
they couldn't see the
maybe
screens
maybe
or anything.
maybe not the camera thing, but it disappeared and they had no idea where it went. And I think I think they like found it like miles away in like some fucking like sewer or some shit like that.
Really, they fucking found it after.
Yeah, there's
Octopus
something.
are pretty smart though. They're one of those
But
smart ones.
all I know is that the takeaway from the story is that the octopus observed the fucking security taking shifts, kept track of time, and then knew exactly when to leave so that the security didn't see it leaving. Which is fucking crazy.
Could be a coincidence too.
Yeah, but that's because you want it to be a coincidence.
No, I'm just saying that is one of the possibilities.
Here, it's Inky. Here, look, New York Times, bro, in 2016.
Inky.
Inky the octopus escapes from New Zealand aquarium. It was an audacious nighttime escape. After busting through an enclosure, the nimble extortionist appears to have quietly crossed the floor, slithered through a narrow drain hole about 6 inches in diameter, and jumped into the sea. Then he disappeared. Okay, so he was caught on camera. But,
Your
what the
fucking
fuck?
story's falling apart.
It is, but all I know is that he observed the fucking thing. That's all I remember, and I remember him escaping, them not seeing him, and just being like, what the fuck?
I feel like dolphins would have more, but like I saw like I don't know how accurate it was. I don't even remember where I saw this, but like I saw like a dolphin's brain next to a human's brain, and the dolphin's brain looked bigger.
Yeah, but physical
if we're
size.
talking
Look,
about, like-
whales have much larger brains than ours physically.
Do they?
Bro, no shit. A whale is like fucking could be like the size of like fucking 5 school buses.
Well, I know that, but it's also doing a lot more, right? So like the brain power is kind of.
Yeah, but no shit. The brain would be like the size of like fucking.
Yeah, but
The brain is probably the size of like a 65-inch TV, or not, like probably bigger. It's probably like
nah, bro, no.
probably some big ass fucking massive brain.
Bro, the blue whale has a brain size of about 15 pounds.
Nah. There's no way.
Bro, I'm A to Z animals.com, bro. You telling me they're lying?
15 pounds? That's not that big. Okay,
15
what is
pounds.
whale
It's not that
brain?
big. That's what I'm saying, bro, right? And it's got to do
looks-
so much more than our humans, so it's already, it's just, yeah,
What is
it's
that?
not that
A
much
whale
bigger.
look-
It's still
whale-
bigger, like,
Oh, the orca's brain is like it's like 2 or 3 of our brains. Bro,
Yeah,
the blue whale's brain is huge, though.
Yeah, apparently it's 6 times larger than ours.
Blue
That's the thing,
whales.
right? It's got to do a lot more processing power. So like, see,
Wow, look at
that's
his brain.
another thing too, though, because like, if we're thinking consciousness is somehow created by the brain, you would assume a whale would have consciousness because the fucking brain's a lot bigger.
Yeah, but what's the size of They definitely do have consciousness, bro.
No, but like in the same way that we are, like, why aren't they fucking waving to us and shit, you know?
Well, bro, what the fuck are that? What the fuck's that gonna do, bro?
But no, but I'm saying, like, wouldn't
They
they be
do though.
in
Your
the water?
dog
Do they
hasn't ever
see us?
done no fucking affectionate shit to you. Your dog, you don't think your dog's sentient?
Bro, but there's a difference. You don't see a difference in the
Bro, yo,
amount of sentience
yo,
between
my
like a
boy
human
neutered
being.
his dog, and his dog won't talk to him. My mom has to. Yeah, that's how it works for weeks. Yo, my mom was giving my dog fucking but you're laughing like he's not like a person. It's like, imagine I said that about like think of like a child. Imagine you had like a retarded child, like retarded like old man. It doesn't matter. It's just like a family member who's
Okay.
handicapped, who has like the
Yeah.
brain power of like a fucking grade fucking 3 or grade 4-year old. You know what I mean? Like it's like a 5, 6-year-old, alright? Like, and they're growing up, and you do like some like they know what's going on in life. It's not exactly, you would maybe, you're gonna say that it's not the same as what you're experiencing. Of course you're gonna say that, but we don't really know what a handicapped person is experiencing, and like, you know what I mean? But their life experience, like, I think they still know what the fuck's going on in reality. Like, you can't just abuse somebody or fucking put them in a shit situation or give them the short end of a stick and have them not realize that they're fucking receiving the short end of the stick. Like, within any situation. You can't just, like, you know what I mean? You can't, like, wrap something around somebody's neck and then fucking ride them and fucking... They definitely know what's going on. Just, they have no control over fucking... They're just slaves. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think fucking...
Yeah, I get that.
I don't think animals want to do any of that shit. I just think they have no choice. And I think we're hyper intelligent, and I think it's because we eat fucking psychedelics. I think monkeys took psychedelics. Their brains got way bigger because they were just kind of like thinking about shit more than other animals, and just having more deeper and deeper thoughts. And then it led to societal things, and then fucking weird cultural things. Like, we have so many unwritten fucking rules and alien shit that we do that other animals don't do. So maybe that's
wonder
what
why we have
distinguishes
that.
us. Maybe it's because we just created more connections over a shorter period of time, and like have like, not only that, but we have a support system, and we're social animals who communicate our experiences to each other. So we learn off of other people's experiences, which
Yeah, I
is
think that
something
might
that I
be it.
think
I
other
think
animals can't
language
do.
might be I think language might be the thing that allows us to give the illusion that we're like that much different.
Mm.
Because there's no other animal that is able to, I think it's communication. I think like everything else we do is pretty, like, birds build fucking houses too. Our houses are more complex, but
Mhm.
birds build houses, right? Like like in the animal kingdom, like everybody does the same shit. None of them have language like we do though. So I
Yeah,
wonder if
nobody
that's like the
communicates like us.
differentiating factor of like, because we were able to communicate, we're able to collaborate, we're able to work together, assemble people and build these fucking massive cities and shit. I wonder if like another species was able to communicate like we do,
Mhm.
they would be building the same type of shit.
What? I agree. I think the communication thing is huge, man. I think I remember back in the day I used to even say, I used to actually, no, that's actually true, bro. I used to always, I remember there's this girl, Rain, I used to always talk to her about it, actually. We used to converse about, because she spoke many languages, but her first language was
Mhm.
like Arabic. So whatever language you dream in is your true language, and your language is super important to you because ideas are non-translatable sometimes through languages. And there's certain meanings, and there's certain sayings, and there's just certain
Mhm.
there's way of thinkings and like situations that are possible within different languages that aren't possible in
Yeah.
others. You know,
Yeah,
like
so
even
like the
just
more
like
complex
love
the
languages and shit, and then just even like, yeah, it could even just come down to like an intimate expression between two people. Like, you could probably be way more intimate language-wise in French and Spanish than you can in English, because it's ours is Germanic and theirs is like a Latin love language where there's more expression words there's like
Yeah.
different ways to express love. So like, cause love, like, did you ever know that the Greeks used to have like 4 or 5 different versions of love? So there's like brotherly love, there's like a family love, like how you love your family. There's a romantic love. There's like a love admiration that you can have. And then there's also like a just like
I guess we still have all that type of stuff.
but we just
different
use the one
words.
word love to distinguish all of them, which
Yeah.
means it could be misinterpreted
Yeah, but
through
we also
conversation.
assume it because it's like, yeah, it can be misinterpreted, but like you kind of assume it through whatever feeling, like, or just social construct, right? When you say, like, I love my brother, you don't assume it's romantic. You assume it's like that's your family love
Sure,
type
but
thing.
I think
Just like,
I think there's a compounding effect though. I think when you have 5 different versions of each saying or each word or each thing, then it just compounds into such a deeper thing where you can express like
yeah,
deeper.
yeah, exactly what you want to say.
Yeah. Well, it's an instrument, bro. Our language is our instrument to fucking express ourselves, to express our consciousness to one another and to ourselves.
I would argue that like emotion and like emotion is kind of a more powerful one. Experience
I feel like
over
emotions
language.
are like the consciousness thing. I don't think you have control over your emotions. It's like your thoughts. I think it just happens to you, and then your consciousness is what distinguishes what you do with your emotions, like how you handle them. But they all
But
happen to you
people,
regardless. Like you can't control whether or not somebody feels jealous about another person, but then you can kind of suppress that. Like you don't have to. But initially, I feel like
so you think
anybody.
in like those trainings and like fucking super spies and shit that learn how to control their emotions, you think they're just suppressing their emotions?
I think they're. Yeah, I think they're realizing that it happens, and because they're conscious about it, they're able to suppress it. But they're just hyper
Or are they
conscious.
bypassing it by understanding, like, let's say you have
Physiology.
like an emotional response to something, like yeah, like somebody pulls out a knife on you or something, like your response is to get frantic or your fight or flight or something. Like if you understand that response and you understand how it works in the body, could you like, kind of like circumnavigate it, be like, hey, like my body's about to react like this, but I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna make it react in a different way. Once you actually
Yes and
understand the
no.
process that
I
happens.
think you're automatically going to be afraid if you don't know how to defend yourself. But if you're hyper trained to defend yourself and that situation has happened to you multiple times and they train you how to handle that shit and you've gone through it,
Yeah.
then I feel like you're able to suppress that emotional response because you have the knowledge. It's like playing COD, bro. A newbie who's
Yeah.
playing COD or somebody who hasn't played a lot might panic under a gunfight, whereas we've gone and played so many games that it's just like, okay, like if I die, I die, whatever, or like you know how to handle the stress load.
Well, I say like all cops should be fucking super ninjas. You'll
I
never
don't
have like
know.
a
I don't
fucking
know though. I
you'll never
wonder.
have
You
like
think the
a
desensitized, like
shooting.
hardo cop who kills people is like the best type of cop? Like you know the guy who's
Well,
worked in
see
the
that's the thing.
field for 20 years.
That's not what I say when I it's the like I feel like the worst things that happen are the cops that get nervous.
I know, but I
Like
feel like the
if you have a
desensitized
piece of
ones
shit
are the.
cop, if you have a piece of shit cop, like he's gonna do like he has a gun, he has a gun. And it's like yeah, if he could beat the shit out of you too, then like yeah, sure, it's not an ideal situation to have a cop that has a gun on you and it can also beat the shit out of you and he's a piece of shit. But in like overall, I think it's like if every cop was like trained UFC fighter, like they're gonna be less like if I were to go up to a cop and I was like confronting him and he had no training whatsoever, if
Mhm.
I'm a bigger guy, he's gonna be intimidated. He's more likely to go for his gun. But if he was a trained UFC fighter and he knew he could just break my jaw, why would he go for his gun?
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to do it.
So why you think our cops are
So
just not well trained?
they're for sure not well. They're not well trained in hand-to-hand combat. That's for sure. They know how to use their gun. They know how to use a taser and stuff. But like once they're in like a face-to-face confrontation,
Yeah.
that like what do they have? Right? They have their gun and they have a
Would,
taser.
would you think we'd have enough cops that would qualify though, if we did that?
Probably not. Like I'm not saying you have to actually be a UFC fighter, but like you gotta be able to fight. If you're a cop, I would say it's probably like it should be some type of prerequisite.
Yeah. Well,
At least have like
that just means
basic.
our government needs to make it a little more strict, or just make the program harder, lower the
Yeah.
acceptance rate, basically. I wonder how hard it
Or
is
just
to
put
go
them
through
through like a
police tech.
training.
But yo,
don't
but
know.
we're saying this, but we've never been through police tech. We have to like talk firsthand to a cop or to like a police tech guy to know if it's what
Think
we're
they
saying
get
is
like a
true.
lot of hand-to-hand training and stuff.
We never know. I wonder what the situation is or why they actually like what leads all these cops to doing it. I wonder if like you gather up all the guys who've like committed fucking legal murder basically and you
Mhm.
ask them like what I don't know, psychiatric, not even a psychiatric, but just kind of like an honest like what happened, what was going through your head like when it happened. And, like get a feel if it was like really on purpose or if it was actually just like when shit hit the fan and then figure out why
Yeah.
that happens. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's, well, I don't know if this is it, but what it could be is like, no matter how much training you have and stuff, like no matter how much you think you're prepared for a situation, I don't think anything can prepare you for the emotions that you feel in the real situation. So you can
Mm.
have all the hand-to-hand combat, you can have training exercises, you know, like fucking fake explosion, fake guns and shit. Like once you're actually in the shit, I don't
Mhm.
think there's any way to know how a person is going to react. 'Cause you can just blank out. Like you just like in that type of high stress situation, like unless you're really trained, I think it's like there's a high chance that a lot of people are just gonna go blank. Like when you're high stress, you just don't think, you just do shit.
Yeah. Like you just
It's
kind
like it's
of
just survival. I'm just doing something to survive. That's it.
the
Just fucking
adrenaline's
going at it.
pumping and shit.
Yeah, and you don't. There's no way of thinking. There's a lot of studies on that. It's like how stress makes you dumber. Like if you're stressed out and everything and you're panicked, you're
Yeah.
actually you become a lot dumber because you're not thinking anymore. You're in like some other system of your brain or some shit and you're just fucking going. It's just fight or flight. You're just all your energies in your arms and legs and you're just fucking doing something. You're running or you're fighting.
Yeah.
You're flailing
You know what's
basically.
interesting on what you're saying actually? I think the people who've mastered this and who have the answer for what we're looking for is the United States military. Because their one goal is to have somebody who's ready for a fighting situation to defend America. And if America is spending all this money, they've cracked the code. They have the best military, and I think the military trainees are the best. I think Americans are the most well well ready for war without war experience.
You
And I
think so?
wonder
Like
what they
what do
do.
you think they do?
I wonder if it's just
I
like
know they go through
firing
like Hell
practice
Week.
with like gunfire over your head.
Apparently
I've
Hell
heard
Week is fucked.
well I've heard one of them. One of the things that you have to do is crawl through mud under barbed wire while cadets are firing bullets over your head. So like you
Yeah.
really can't get up, and if you get up, you fucking die. So like
Wasn't
that's
that in
kind of
like
like
a
the
movie?
was it? Yeah, wasn't it a movie where he gets up and
Yeah,
gets
I
capped in
think.
the head?
Yeah. What movie is that?
Was that the you know the movie where the guy's a medic in World War
Oh,
One?
Hacksaw Ridge?
Is it Hacksaw Ridge?
Could be. It might be. I don't remember what movie that's from. It
Because
rings a bell
I
though.
think it was one of the things where he was looking and he was like, wow, because he didn't want to be as somebody who shot somebody. He just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
He wasn't
I don't
down
get
with the
that though. Like the
violence.
people on the machine gun. Like, why do they need a guy tapping them on the head? You're not fucking looking. Like you can't see when you're on the machine gun or something.
What do you mean? Tapping him on the
Like
head?
in that scene, there's like a guy who's like, or I guess like in general, like I've seen this in multiple movies, so I guess this is just a thing, where it's like whatever guy's on the gunner, he has like a spotter basically, and the spotter like taps him on the head and shit to say, okay, shoot this way, like turn this way and stuff. There's guys in this way. Like, do they not see? Like, can they not see? Like, you're in the machine gun.
Well, I don't think you make your own choices when you're a machine gunner or when you're in the army.
Oh, you
I
think
think
you listen to like your spotter and he tells you where to shoot?
I think it's I you have to, dude. I've read and I've heard from like from videos and shit, like the common thing or the reason why I think that would happen is that you do what you're told or people die. And that's the lesson. It's like if they tell you to fucking run across an alleyway or if they tell you to fucking suppress a fire one thing, you don't stop suppressing fire until they tell you to stop suppressing fire cuz you have to let all your boys go through and they'll tell you when to, like they'll take care of you cuz you're taking care of them. And that's how I think the army is really it's like your brother, you're in your brother's arms and they're in your arms, so you do like you know to do exactly what, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
know
but
that
then
if
like
they say
who's
shoot to
that
the right
spotter making the
side
decision for?
and sit there, and if there's gunfire from like the left, I think I just continue shooting on the right until they tell me to shoot on the left.
Yeah, but like why is that spotter making that decision then?
I don't know.
Like is
I wonder if maybe he's told by a higher command, or maybe a spotter is somebody who's like a general.
I don't know. I feel like nowadays they make more decisions for themselves, like the squads. Like it's just kind of like a squad of 12.
You think?
They gotta kind of get themselves out of it. I mean, maybe an actual like real full-on world war would be different, but I feel like the type of warfare that goes on now, yeah, it's like smaller squads. Like they have a command center, but like once you're in the field, I feel like it's kind of like yeah, you have a captain or whatever the highest guy is, and like he kind of makes the decisions, I guess.
Okay, but all the shit that we've seen in movies are like some fucking Lone Ranger situations, bro, where they're fucking like they're fucking
You don't think that's what it
going
is in like
through.
Iraq?
I don't know how much that happens. Well, I think it's sometimes it happens, but I think the majority of people who are serving, like okay, like say like the Ukrainians versus the Russians, say, like the platoons that are going in for that and stuff. I feel like it's just like you just fucking. You got a general who's fucking telling you where to fucking march and where you guys are going, and you're just going there and you're fucking doing what the fuck you're told. You're suppressor firing,
Yeah.
basically. You're not really
Where's
shooting
I'm
each
surprised
other.
we
You're
haven't
just
seen
suppressor
much
firing.
more like video coming out of there.
Well, cause okay,
Yes.
I've been
I saw a
watching some
bunch at the
political
beginning, but then
YouTube
I haven't.
videos, and like,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I have, bro, and like, they make some valid points, bro. Like,
About what?
I really thought Russia was gonna take Ukraine like it was nothing.
Yeah, everybody did.
Well, exactly. They kind of it's a double-edged sword. They've proved so there's some like double think going on, right? So the world now thinks that Russia is not as strong as we used to think. But at the same time, we're spending more on our military budgets than ever before to prepare for Russia, which means that we do believe that they're like a hard threat. So like we're living in a situation where
Well,
both realities are true, which means that none of them is true. It's kind of like it's an idiotic like it's like some
well,
1934
I mean,
shit or some like what's that book called? 1942?
1984.
1984? George Orwell fucking doublethink, bro.
Yeah, 1984. But like, what
The
was
government
it?
has convinced us both realities are both true and false is true.
Well, we're spending money to like we're just sending shit to Ukraine, but also the money that we're spending is going to Ukraine, but it's a
Coming right back to us
what?
in defense budgets.
Well, no, it's part of the lend lease something act. Like because we're not like NATO isn't actually part of the war, right? So
Uh-huh.
if we do get like if NATO ever joins part, then technically we're going to war with Russia, right? So the only thing that we're doing right now for Ukraine is like a lend lease act. So we're actually just leasing them all of that equipment. But Ukraine is going massively in debt to like the United States and shit right now. That's what's happening. They're giving them like $100 billion worth of like materials and aren't like weapons and shit, but it's just as a lease because technically we're not in the war. If we were to just give them that supplies, then we're part of that war. So we're just lending them as like we're funding them in a way, but they're just going massively in debt.
That's literally we're asking for war. You know that, right? Like everybody supports it because they want to defend Ukraine, but like if Russia was fucking funding Mexico because America was taking advantage of Mexico, and then Russia decided it wanted to be the saving grace for Mexico and started giving it fucking money for its fucking thing and asked it to join its allegiance, America would have some problems with that, bro. America would not be cool with Mexico joining fucking Russia. So why the fuck is America trying to recruit Ukraine into NATO when it's been
because
clear
America's
that
the fucking bully, bro? It's not. There's no
it's been
fucking
clear. It's been clear since the Warsaw Pact, though, that you're not supposed to do that. And all the CIA guys have always advised that to the presidents. All the CIA guys who have historical knowledge about the fucking history of how the world works, and all these fucking potato brain presidents come in and fuck it up. It's like, bro, you're not supposed to pass the Warsaw Pact. That was the agreement. And the Warsaw Pact was all of Eastern Europe. So like you don't go past like Poland.
Yeah, but haven't hasn't two places close to Russia now joined NATO?
Yeah, and every time that they do it, Russia responds the same by saying, "Fuck you guys, you're not allowed doing that." When Georgia wanted to join NATO, Russia
But they
took
do it
over
anyway.
Georgia. Yeah, but Georgia got fucking demolished by Russia in 2008. People don't talk about
Yeah.
that. But the same thing happened in Georgia, and they suppressed that shit real quick with the little green men. But I don't know,
Green
man.
men?
Like fucking this shit. What's going on is kind of retarded. Yo, you know what I heard too? The trade between Brazil, Russia, South Africa, and China, it's called the BRICS economy. So because they're low key like the strongest emerging economies. These guys, the trade has gone up between these countries, and they all have cheap oil, because they're buying cheap Russian oil. So right now what's happening is like we're kind of starving Europe, because all of Western Europe is not going to buy cheap Russian oil for whatever. The Saudis are probably going to run
They
the
are
price
buying
up.
it. It's Russia that's not sending it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like Europe is more than willing to they have a pipeline directly from Russia for the oil and like natural gas and shit, but Russia turned it off.
Wait, what? Deadass?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that like I
But
think
they
it
still want
was
it.
last time like Europe wants it. It's not like they just shut it off, but like there was quote unquote maintenance that have to happen, and after that maintenance, they were only pumping at like 40% of what they used to.
Uh-huh.
And now there's like a whole controversy of like they need a new turbine, but like Russia's stalling the turbine, so they're not going to be installing that new turbine. But now they're at like 40% capacity. There's like I saw this a while ago, so I think there was like talks that it was even going to go down further.
Really?
And like Europe basically is going to need it back up and running for the winter, because obviously they use more heat. They need more heat in the winter. But yeah, so
See,
there's a
Europe's
huge
a
thing right
bunch of
now.
hoes though then, bro. Europe's basically saying, like, they're standing beside their big brother America, but at the same time
Yeah,
they're like, hey man,
they're
like, I
funding
still
like
need your
Russia's
shit,
enemy
bro.
right now. Be like, yo, give me that oil though.
I
Like,
still
we're gonna
need that
fucking
oil,
fund
dude.
the enemy, but give me your oil. Yeah, Euro's a two-faced bitch.
Dude, that's some hoe. That's some hoe shit.
Yeah, straight up.
Yo, I didn't know that was happening. I thought Europe
Yeah.
had the ban. I thought Europe wasn't buying, trying to starve Russia so that they don't make money. I thought that's how it worked.
It was weird because I thought they were, but then I saw this talk about like how they're fucking negotiating to get this pipeline back up and shit. Like I don't know what was going on there.
So what the fuck is
Maybe it
the
was
use of
oil.
like doing a news podcast saying that there's sanctions? What's the point of doing that when America says we're putting sanctions on Russia's oil? Like, what's the
Well,
point of
America
saying that
did.
when they're
I
still
think
buying
Europe-
40%?
Because they're putting sanctions on 60.
Bro, like what?
60.
Because
I think it's other things too. It's like business and other commodities and trade and shit.
yeah, but that's not how the message is interpreted. The message is completely interpreted like we're
Obviously,
not
bro.
doing business with them, and that's how I interpreted it, and everybody around me
Bro,
did.
yeah, bro, it's propaganda on art. I mean, you know what was like a crazy thing is fuck, who was it that went there? Like some I guess he was like a podcaster or something maybe. Went to Russia, like interviewed people or and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it was like a Russian that came here and stuff, and basically while he was there, like everybody in Russia thinks the same way that people in the United States think, in the sense that like they they kind of obviously know that their government does something sketchy, but they don't see their government like we see it over here, of like propaganda nation type thing, and like everything that comes out of the Kremlin's a lie. They just think like, yeah, it's like a normal government. Which made me wonder, like, yo, bro, like, our government probably does the same shit. Because we think over here that our government's just like, yeah, it's just a normal government. It's not like a propaganda machine.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have some bullshit. But like, but I think all governments are pretty much the same.
Just fucking props. It's like our mentality of what happens in China is just happening everywhere, basically.
Yeah, I don't know.
So like not as
Like
extreme.
it was a thought, but I don't know if I agree with that thought.
I feel like it does though, because I know that we have a lot. There's a lot of like weird shit going on. Like Canada, bro. Like Canadians are very comfortable with the whole crypto thing and the whole banks being able to freeze your accounts for fucking funding quote unquote terrorist acts. But it's just like okay.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see it like how that wasn't like a fucking crazy thing. Like when that happened, bro.
I'm still mad about that, bro.
That was fucking wild. When I saw that happen, I was like, "What the fuck?" And like nobody seemed to,
It's
because
bad
they
and
had the
nice.
excuse, right? They had the excuse like, "Oh yeah, they're terrorists, so that's why it's okay to freeze their fucking account."
Yeah.
Like they
I was like-
froze Canadian citizens' accounts
Just on
for
suspicion.
yeah.
And it also stated that they don't need valid evidence. It's basically on their own whim. We gave them a green light to do it on whoever they want.
Yeah, because they invoked the Emergencies Act, and they never fully revoked it, right?
Yeah.
That
Well,
Emergencies Act is still on standby, where they can just turn it on and off now. I think.
is it still active?
Like, I think. See, like, the
'Cause I
way
never heard
I
any
like,
news of it turning off or like them announcing
I think
that
what
it's
it is
not.
like it had to go through Congress and like it had to be approved. But now that it's approved, I think it's like he probably just the government probably just has to say, okay, we're gonna use it now, but they don't have to get approval through like our parliament or whatever anymore.
So meaning it's still
They can
active,
just
basically.
kind of, I think.
It is. It's well, if they can turn it on whenever they want.
I think that's what I heard. Like, I haven't looked at that for a fucking while, but
That's. Bro. We're just experiencing a
some.
more controlled situation. It's just the government's taking more control, but it's whatever. I wonder if that's natural. Is your society gets more and more complex? You can't take control. Like the individual has to relieve more control to the government, but we have to
But
control our government. That's the only thing.
but why? Like, I guess it has. Like, why do governments want more control? Like, these fuckers are only there for 8 years.
And not only that, all these people are just working. They're getting paid. They're all just going to work.
I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like, people who want like control and power and like strive for this. Like,
But is there an agenda? Is there somebody like, is it like, okay, we work together, you and me, and we run the government part, and we're just thinking of new ways how we can fuck the average citizen into like giving us more budget or like bigger,
sounds like it.
more
Well,
shit?
when you think about it, the government is really just a way to take like everybody's money and give it to private corporations. That's pretty much what it is.
Well,
Like
it's
they
the private
fucking
corporations
fucked
that
us.
we need. It's the ones that we want to for our survival. So it's like, okay, like we need automotive things because we want to have cars and we want to be able to make tanks for war and shit, and like we want to make sure that we're reliant for ourselves. Apparently, the U.S.
I mean,
military is
yes and
completely
no.
reliant on America to produce everything except for munitions. There's like a mineral you need for ammo that they get from like China and Russia.
Really.
Yeah, so you can make everything but ammo. Ammo is something that China and Russia control.
Better get on that.
But like, I wonder what we sell to other people. What's like the what do we give? What does America give? Because America has the most like agricultural land on Earth. I wonder if like they have a lot of exports for food. Or like what
Dude,
is our?
China has a fuckload of land too.
They do.
I feel like every country can be self-sustaining. Just we don't. Like America used to be self-sustaining. It's just it's cheaper to go fucking outsource everything.
They're basically self-sustaining though. They could for most things.
Yeah, but like we don't
Food,
have any
energy.
manufacturing here anymore.
Food, energy.
We don't have stuff.
Okay, like yeah, I guess natural resources.
No,
But we
natural
stripped
resources, I think we have enough, but we don't have factories to make shit. It's all in
Well, we just
China.
closed it. It's because our labor is more expensive. But that's almost like
Yeah.
a cause from like immigration from other countries. Because more people want to live in our area, meaning that the price for our area goes up because we have outside investors throwing
Yeah.
their money in the market as well.
Yeah, we got way too much immigration. I feel like that's gonna become even worse.
No, but that's an issue though, because that idea is a nationalist idea, and that's actually how you lower your growth. Like, immigration's not actually
Oh
a
no,
bad thing.
I understand like why we're at a point now where we actually have to maintain immigration, or I think our shit collapses.
Yeah,
Like
like
it
we
just
need
it
more
pushes
people
all the
coming in.
prices up. Like it just continuously pushes prices up.
But I think we need that just to survive. The opposite is not good either though when the prices deflate.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well, I don't think
painful.
prices would deflate, but it would be a little slower. But with like climate change and everything, I feel like there's gonna be a shitload of people to place. So much of like humanity lives around like coastlines.
Yeah,
But
with
once those
the
tides rise, like in the next 50 years, or like half of, I think there's like 2 billion people who live around coastlines. People aren't gonna have houses anymore.
well, what if it's just an information thing? So what if you do, instead of physically harming people, we're doing Wi-Fi waves or 5G shit, which are poisoning them with their food or with their vaccines or with their medicine, which they're doing
People
all
are
that
living
shit.
longer than ever, though.
Yeah, I know, but that's just 'cause like we have access to more shit, more information, and food than ever. We've never
What
had
do you
this
mean?
much food, bro. We've never had this much calorie excess. Look, to be honest, it's better to be like this than to have no food, bro. If we had literally
sure.
like had to eat like raw fucking grains and we only had a couple bundles of it, and it's just like that's all. Like we could only have like a couple loaves of bread. Like that's whack, bro. Like it's dope that we're all fat as shit.
Hella whack.
You know what I mean? I'm happy
Yeah.
we're fat as shit.
Yeah.
America can literally. America is the best population to go through this recession. Because if there's, let's say, all the food in the world disappears for like 6 months, these fat motherfuckers will still be alive because they have fat reserves out the ass.
Yeah. Bro, they got a year's worth.
They got a year's worth of food on their body.
But does that actually happen? Like, bro, if you're 600 pounds and then all of a sudden there's no more food, are you only gonna, like, are you literally gonna die? Like, if you were to die from starvation, would you die, like, skinny as a stick?
Yeah.
Like, let's say you had water. Let's say you had water, so you could sustain yourself.
Well,
Your
actually,
body
I
would
think
literally eat
there's a psychological.
500 pounds of fat.
I think there's a psychological aspect to that. I think somebody who's 500 pounds is just too used to eating that I don't think they would be able to go to the fasting stage.
They would think
I
they
feel
would
like-
die from just fucking thinking about how hungry they are.
Yeah, no, deadass. I think they would shut down their systems and probably give themselves anxiety attacks and die.
Bro,
Unless they
let's say
chilled
that
the fuck out.
psychology
Unless
wasn't- bro, let's say that psychology part wasn't didn't kill them.
then
You
yeah,
think
then
their body
they
would actually
would.
eat through 500 pounds of fat?
Bro,
Wouldn't you?
you saw
you
you saw
know what, you would
yo
probably, you would probably
you
die of
first
other
hand witnessed the
deficiencies
faster.
first.
Yo, I fasted like fucking crazy, bro. I did some like weird fasting. My nutrition's not really the healthiest thing. I've done some weird experiments with my body, bro. But like
But that's what I'm saying, like, when
you've
you have-
seen me
when
at
you're
like
breaking down
super skin
fat-
and bones. Where I remember I saw a
Uh-huh.
picture, like you took a Snapchat picture while I was at your pool.
Yeah.
I was probably like, my body probably consumed all the fat on my body at that point. And then it comes back and
so?
it goes, yeah, like right now I'm at like
But
a
what I'm
like,
saying is that when you're if you were to be 500 pounds and fast like that, you would probably die from some sort of deficiency because your fat only has certain like nutrients in it. You would die of like vitamin D deficiency or whatever the fuck it would be.
maybe.
Like, cause your
What if
body
you
would have to
did?
start
What if they
breaking
just
itself
had?
down.
What if they just had a deficit though? What if they just fasted for like 5 days and they gave themselves proper nutrition, but they would be still better equipped than fucking malnourished
Yeah.
people to
Well,
fucking
definitely.
take it on.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, the extra fat is not the worst, you know? It's like, it's used to be wealthy, wealth symbol, you know what I mean? Just to show you had money.
besides aesthetically, like I don't think six packs is very effective. I feel like to have an optimal body is like you have a little fat reserves on you, you know? Got
Yeah.
little chunks. Got
Well,
some
when you get
chunks.
sick as an elderly person, you need those fat reserves to
You gotta be
fuel you up.
chunky, eh?
It's gonna help though, think about it, because otherwise your body's eating your muscle, and I think that makes you feel more sick too. I think it gives off a chemical reaction in your body that doesn't make you feel good when your body starts eating
Oh,
its
like
muscles.
cause you can't eat food, you're saying? Like when you get to like when you're sick and you can't eat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like so you're going through
Yeah,
like,
because then your body just automatically goes and like breaks down your fat.
yeah.
That's what it does.
Well, that's why elderly people are like, "Oh, you're so skinny, you're so frail." They like when you're like kind of plump, you know? And it's true, bro. If ever you've
Could they
seen
do
your
like
like,
IVs for like food and stuff?
yeah, but you don't get the same, bro. I've seen my grandmother go into like fucking skin and bones at the end of her cancer
And
when she
like
died. She wasn't eating
and
for
like
like
with
weeks.
IVs and stuff? You
Well,
can't there's no supplementation for it?
not really. I don't think so. I think you need like I think Soylent is the closest thing we have.
Soylent?
Yeah, that drinkable, fully nutrient thing. You ever heard about
No,
Soylent?
but I'm saying like a little IV. Like you can't put something like in your arm, like
Yeah,
stick
but
an
they only
IV in your
drip
arm.
they can't drip like calories into you. I think it's only vitamins and like
Really?
saline water and I don't think you can do calories through your veins, no.
Oh, I didn't know that. I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's I think our intestines is the area that we transition food into like energy that our that's a
Usable
super
energy.
interesting thing actually. Like how the fuck do we turn calories into fucking like energy for our body to use? That's the craziest thing actually if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like what is like our intestine wall too if our colon just looks like the skin on like fucking hot dogs. Like if it's literally just that, if it's just casing, like I don't understand how that absorbs nutrients or like breaks down food and then gives us energy. That's something I've never really fully understood.
Well, it's absorbed through the walls, right? Like it's broken down in your stomach acid, and then from there it goes through your intestines and somehow gets absorbed.
So what does it
And
look
then
like before it gets to
some
the end? Like
like poop.
is it like well it's gonna look like shit, right? But does it look like
Yeah.
shit that doesn't look
Probably has more
brown?
color in it, I guess. Yeah, I guess it has more color.
Like do we suck out the energy out of it?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess brown brown is the color like color of zero energy.
It
If
starts
shit's got
green and
color,
shit.
bro, yeah. Shit's got color, it's got something in there, bro. It's true though,
Yeah.
there's not many brown foods that you'd fucking want to eat. Like
Unless
coconut
it's
husk, you don't even eat that. You know, you eat the white part of the coconut. That's got plenty of color in there.
yeah.
Name a brown food that has nutrients and calories that we want.
Well, bread is kind of brown.
Bread? I guess yeah, or like wheat bread. That's true.
Yeah, I feel like grains can turn brown, or like roasting of some foods and shit. But I wonder if brown is the color, like I wonder if it's just because all the, you know when you mix all the colors on your crayon board when you're a kid?
Oh
Turning
yeah, it
brown?
always becomes brown.
I wonder if like all the
It's true,
foods just turn
yeah.
brown in your body.
That would make sense. Yeah, they all just get mixed up and shit.
Yeah, I wonder if you took everything in your pantry and put it in a blender if it turns brown. Just turns into
Probably.
shit.
I would assume so.
Fuck. Yeah, we could have played another game. We've been talking for a minute.
Yeah, we could have, but now it's too late.
Yeah.
But don't you have fucking General Tao cauliflower to
Yeah.
get to?
I don't even know if that shit's still warm, bro. It's been a minute.
Bro, that place Kale and Bacon that closed down had some lit ass cauliflower.
Kale and bacon? Where was that?
Yeah, Kale Bacon, it was on Sources.
Sad, everything's closed down now.
Yeah, a lot of places.
It's like,
And there's still a decent amount of restaurants that have stayed open. I'm surprised not as many closed down, to be honest.
Oh, well, you think they got loans from banks or something? You think the banks bailed them out?
Oh, well, there's a lot of loans that they, like, financial aid throughout the pandemic, so yeah.
How does
It's
that
very
work though? Is that
possible.
like non-paid back money, or is that money you gotta pay back?
I think most businesses have to pay it back. I think. Like I think they can get like a $50,000 business loan.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of
Pay like, yeah,
fucking. It's kind of
for sure
whack,
you gotta
but
pay it back.
whatever. It is what it is. It's the situation.
I feel like they probably got good interest rates and stuff.
So they're not really enslaved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, actually, thinking of talking about business, bro. I have to figure out where the fuck my credit cards are. UPS called me last week on Thursday
They probably left a message.
on
Or they
my
called you on
voicemail.
Thursday. They called you a week ago.
Yeah. But I never got the card. I asked my mom if the card was there. I thought they would try to deliver multiple times or if they were just calling. I don't know what the fuck the call was for. But actually last week we found out that our doorbell is broken. So they probably rang our
I think they try
doorbell.
to deliver like twice, and then if they don't do it after the second time, I think they go to like a place where you gotta go pick it up.
I don't know. There's been a lot of delivery guys who just kind of. Apparently, like my mom had or I had another delivery that just went straight to the post office. Apparently, like my mom was home, my grandpa was home. They didn't hear nothing.
Really? So yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably your
it's happened a
doorbell
couple
busted.
times.
Well, yeah, then that makes sense that your doorbell's busted.
I guess. Well, I looked at the doorbell. The doorbell is busted. Definitely busted.
Yeah. So then, yeah, it makes sense. How would you hear it if you don't have nothing to hear?
Fucker should have left it.
They need a signature, bro.
Maybe tariffs. I'd probably have to pay tariffs from China. Yeah.
Wouldn't that have? Uh, is it the shipping company that gets you to pay? Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe they're
sometimes.
calling you to pay your tariffs before they deliver it.
Oh.
I don't know how that works. Like whether I don't think they'll deliver
I've
until
actually
everything's
like
paid.
not gotten delivered packages before like that. I've lost like good money buying shit online, not getting it delivered.
Because you didn't
Pretty
pay
whack.
tariffs?
Well, just 'cause like it just never got delivered. So
Where
just
is
like,
it?
alright, we're like I had a hoodie, never got it. Paid 300 American for it.
What do you mean you
Obviously.
never got it? Like where do you like you ordered it from like a legit brand or did you order from like Alibaba?
I ordered it from a person, but it was a legit person. It's so like the thing is he makes shit on Instagram and sells them and shit.
Okay.
His name's Warren Lawtis. He's pretty legit. He did get sued by Nike though and had to stop making his shoes. And I got his shoes that were not the Nike not the one that I fucking were promised. But it's whatever. It's like they were still dope. I knew I was gonna still get them. I was gonna get like a different version of a shoe. But never got my $300 hoodie by this dude. And another time I bought boots. I think I got refunded on my credit card statement because I saw a refund, but I didn't really understand what the refund was. It was like some steel toe boots, but that like never came to my house. I've paid tariffs on other shit though. Like I've received like clothing before from the US and had to pay like 150 bucks. The Warren Lawtis shit, whenever he ships me, I gotta pay like 150 bucks at the door. It's
Really?
fucking whack. I paid like actually like I paid 90 once and like I paid 150 once. And you don't expect it because you're just like fuck. You didn't expect that, and it's just like oh, like are you gonna accept your $300 hoodie and pay an extra 150 just to keep it, or do you let them take it? It's like fuck. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of whack.
Super whack. Whatever, that's life. I gotta hit up Warden
That's
Lawtis for it.
showbiz.
See
Yeah,
if
why
he
don't you
got
just
my
message
hoodie.
him?
I should, man. Just kind of didn't care about it. Whatever. It's kind of like, happened. I went on with my life. I didn't fixate on it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna dip out.
Fucking bounce off. Oh, no way, dude.
Yeah, get that
Yeah.
cauliflower bar.
You gotta eat that shit.
Yes, sir.